You guys are live here with Brushed by Brandy. We are live on the Dixie Belle Facebook and Instagram page.
Woo!
Yeah, we're laughing, you guys, because I was just checking my phone for a minute to check my connection, and I hit the button to go live.
You have a good connection.
Yeah. So we're live now. There's no going back.
Yeah,
Once you're
we're
live,
back.
you're live. Oh.
Yep.
So you guys, I am here live with you on the Dixie Belle Paint Facebook and Instagram page tonight. My name is Brandy. I'm with Brushed by Brandy. I am a Dixie Belle Paint brand ambassador, and I paint here live with you guys every Thursday evening. And tonight I want to talk to you guys about a couple things. We have a lot of new painters who have come on board since quarantine started. The COVID pandemic has put a lot of people back in their homes. Everybody's looking at their decor and they hate it. They hate it. So now is the time to get caught up on all those projects. People are looking for just a hobby to keep them busy, but we welcome everybody new who's here painting with us at Dixie Belle. And one of the things I used to do with you guys, I did a whole bunch that I've got up on my YouTube channel in the playlist sections, is we used to do series of start to finish videos where I would take a piece and work through it with you guys completely so you could see all the steps along the way it took to get that look.
Sheila likes my haircut, in case you're wondering.
Thanks, Sheila. I actually cut Sean's hair this last time. Who knew? I'm a fabulous painter and a hairdresser. I actually cut my hair off this last week.
But not you cutting your own hair.
Well, I would have cut my own hair. I actually did cut my own hair, and then I was like, I better have somebody else do this. Sean refused to touch it. So we went to the shopping center the next day, and I walked into the $15 Great Clips and let them cut it off. And I'll tell you what, I love it. It's much more me. And I had longer hair. I had it up in a ponytail all the time, and I'm wearing it down again. And so this is me.
It's just interesting to see them cut hair with chainsaw.
Yeah, whatever.
Who knew?
I don't care. $15, that's what you get. So we're gonna do that again. We're gonna take a piece, and I chose this piece right here, and I literally have not touched this. I pulled it out of my storage this afternoon, and we're gonna work on this piece start to finish. So you guys can take your pieces at home, and you could look at them and see, where do I even begin with this? So, let's talk about this piece here. It's a nightstand, and it's solid wood. It's a nicely made piece, but it does have this really glossy finish on it. So they took and gave it this really glossy finish. And I see these questions a lot with, when you've got a glossy finish, how do you choose Boss? Do you choose Slick Stick? What do you do? So we are going to answer those questions tonight as we work on this piece together. So when I'm starting out a piece, I'm going to start by taking the hardware off, of course. So what I do when I take hardware off is I actually buy these little caddies. When back to school time begins, I'll buy these caddies. So this one has 3 holes in it. This one actually has 2 projects in it already. And I'll take the hardware, and it goes straight from the piece into this caddy. Now, if I need to clean the hardware, I will clean it right in this caddy, because the more times that you put your hardware in new containers, the more likely you are to lose a piece of your hardware. So I usually soak my hardware in a mixture of white vinegar and water, and I could do that right in this caddy. If it doesn't need to be cleaned, I just will pile them all up here. Oops.
And just throw them out of the caddy. No big deal.
These are hardware I've already done, actually, and this one has a couple molds that I need to put on this piece. So it's kind of all stays together in one area. I have some extra screws in here, ignore those. So I'm going to start by taking my hardware off. I feel like I'm working backwards. I should be on the other side.
I just feel like you're the only one working.
The only one with what?
You're the only one working.
As usual. So
That's typical.
These are pretty pulls. I actually kind of like these. No matter what, even if I like the finish on hardware, I will always clean my hardware. Even if I like the finish. I do kind of like the finish on these. So I'm not sure that these need a new finish on them. But I will definitely clean them. One tip, when you soak your hardware in your white vinegar and water mixture to clean it, do not soak your screws. A lot of screws are steel and they will rust.
Brittany says she always puts her hardware in a safe place. It's so safe she can never find it again.
Yeah, very safe. Very safe, Brittany. Somewhere there's a whole bunch of Brittany's hardware that she's been looking for a long time. So I also wanted to talk to you guys a little bit because a lot of you guys are followers on my page, and I wanted to just address a post that I made this week with you guys here on camera too. And I made a post basically just about changing trends in social media, and it was asking you guys for a little bit of patience, a little bit of understanding. We are in different times right now, and it's showing on social media. And for me personally, that didn't mean that I felt like I needed to take a break. Dixie Belle's very, very, very understanding with us. When we need to take a break, we can take a break. We don't have to ask permission or anything. We can go radio silent for a few days, and I do that all the time, and you guys don't even notice. But if I need a break, I take a break, and there will be days I don't paint, and I just work my social media accounts, or I spend time with my family, or whatever I need to do. But this was more about just talking about manners on social media lately. And they've slipped a little bit, and that could come with a lot of new people joining us, and existing followers. You get used to having new content, and there's more demand for it right now. So we're feeling the demand too as brand ambassadors. But I wanted to let you guys know that, number one, Dixie Belle takes excellent care of us. I have no complaints there whatsoever. My post was not at all to say that I needed some time off. It was to say, hey, just have a little understanding. Let's remember manners and go back to some of the principles that we started with when we started painting. And so if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to talk about that tonight as well. So what I'm starting out with is my Dixie Belle White Lightning. So now I've got my hardware off. I need to clean this piece. It's dusty. Like I said, I haven't touched this. I didn't touch it. When I work a piece start to finish with you guys, we're going to focus on the front of this. I'm not going to turn it and do every which side. We're going to focus on the front of it. So you guys will see me do all the steps on the front of this, but know that I'm going to do it to all the sides of it off camera. So Dixie Belle White Lightning is a granulated formula. It looks like a coarse salt, like a sea salt maybe, like a coarse table salt, I guess. And the directions on White Lightning, I'm going to read it to you, say dissolve 2 heaping tablespoons of White Lightning per gallon of hot water. Now, one of the questions I've gotten a lot lately is, what do you do when you're mixing it into a smaller container? So this question, the directions say 2 heaping tablespoons. This is a tablespoon here. We don't usually mix whole gallons of White Lightning. Most people mix it into a smaller spray bottle. My spray bottle is, gosh, it's so dirty, I don't even think I could find a marking. I think this is 36 ounces. It's so dirty. So you want to fractionalize, and you don't even have to be good at math to fractionalize your White Lightning, because all you have to do is say gallon to quart and put it on Google. And nobody even has to know that you had to Google that. I'm not going to tell. But let me tell you guys a secret. When I'm mixing my White Lightning, I don't even do exact measurements.
What?
I know. It's like my cooking. I will take a container like this, and I would, instead of 2 heaping tablespoons for a gallon, I would take, say, 1 regular tablespoon for this container. I really wish I knew how big this was. I think it's 36. So I don't measure exact. If it's not exact, I've never had a problem. You can see, even if I had to take 1 regular tablespoon for this bottle, that's very little of this White Lightning. It's very little. I mean, you get so many mixtures out of this. So let's say I did a heaping tablespoon, and that was more than what my mixture called for. It's not going to hurt anything. It's not going to hurt anything. So even if your container is smaller than the 1 gallon that the White Lightning calls for, a rough mixture is still going to work for you.
So do you ever get the question, like, why did they name a product after Sean?
Oh,
No?
yeah, all the time.
Just curious.
Yeah, all the time. People want to know. They came to me and were like, what should we name this cleaning product? Should it be called Cleaner, like generic cleaner? And I was like, Sean had this nickname in high school, White Lightning. And they loved it, so.
It just stuck.
Yeah, now we get massive amounts of royalties, and we're living the life over here. Just me and White Lightning and our White Lightning children. Okay, so then I'm going to take paper towels. And this piece didn't even look that dirty. Do you guys want to see other people's gunk on there?
Yeah.
You want to put it over here?
No, thank you.
Facebook gunk?
Yeah.
Instagram gunk? So it's not, it didn't look that dirty. Seth, can you give me one of my mister bottles? I forgot to bring a mister over here. So I'm going to pull the drawers out. Now, one thing we're going to get to as we work through this product, or this piece from start to finish, it does have velvet lined drawers. So I hate velvet lined drawers. They're supposed to be a luxury, but I actually think they're awful. But these are in really good condition. I will not tear these out unless my life is being threatened. They are awful. They are a nightmare. These need to be cleaned really well. So one of the steps we're going to do, probably as we're finishing up, because I usually clean the inside of my drawers as one of my last steps, we are going to talk about cleaning up flocked drawers.
Flocked drawers?
Flocked drawers. These drawers are flocked.
I don't know if I read that problem.
Can I say that word?
I mean, it's all about having clean drawers, but I don't know about having flocked drawers.
These drawers are flocked. That actually just the one. So when I'm doing this, I am looking through my piece as a whole. This is a great time to get to know my piece overall. So one thing I look at is I look at my glides. Are my glides in good condition? Do they need any repairs? How do they come in and out? Am I missing any drawer stops on my frame? Do I have any money hidden behind my drawers?
Let's really get
taped
there.
To the inside, maybe? The answer to that is always no, by the way.
If you have money in your drawers, you are not doing furniture.
So this particular piece I'm cleaning with my white lightning and water mixture. I'm not worried about this one being a bleeder. Well, let's talk about what bleeding is. So bleeding is when the oils and tannins from your wood will seep through your paint and cause staining. They will discolor your paint. And there's a couple reasons I'm not worried about bleeding on this piece. Number one, I can look at the wood on this and I can see that it's a light colored wood. Lighter colored woods are usually less likely to bleed. You can also tell woods that tend to bleed, mahogany, 100%, it's always a bleeder. You need to protect it with Dixie Belle Boss. Oak is highly likely to bleed. Pine bleeds because pine has knots. So even though it's a lighter colored wood,
Dang.
pine has knots that are rich in oils.
Sorry, take you back a step. Sue said she found 5 $100 bills in a dresser.
Oh my gosh, Sue. That's literally...
Hopefully it wasn't her own.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That kind of ruins the surprise. Oh, there's my money. ...
Yeah.
I actually found, just a couple weeks ago, was the first time I found cash inside of a piece. I spray my white lightning pretty liberally, and I'll come through and spray it, and I let it sit for a minute while I go through and wipe all the parts of my dresser.
Is it so strong that you need to wear gloves while you do it?
It does recommend that you wear gloves. I usually do wear a pair of light gloves. It's not a harsh chemical though, so I'm not wearing gloves right now. It does not burn your skin. It does not have a strong odor. It's a very mild odor. It is formulated with TSP though, so you should wear gloves, and it does say that on the label that you should wear gloves.
I gotta be honest, if I found $500 in a piece, I'd probably go back and see if they wanted to sell more stuff.
Yeah, go knock on their door. Wait for them
I don't care what time it is.
Wait for them to have a yard sale. So I noticed that the inside of this piece here needs to be vacuumed. Now I won't vacuum on camera because it's loud, but I just take my shop vac, which I always have hooked up in my workspace because it's hooked up for my sander. And I will take my shop vac and I will vacuum out the inside of the piece as well. So definitely vacuum out the insides of your piece, but this is a great time for me to see what repairs are needed. I'm using my fingernails to kind of press my paper towel into these crevices and get all the dust out.
You ever use a scrubber when you're using white lightning?
I do sometimes. This one I wouldn't say is required. This is actually a pretty easy cleanup job. But some of those pieces that are old, maybe they have nicotine stains, very rich oils. If they've got chipping or peeling, you may need to be a little more abrasive with your cleaning. So this is the time when you would look all that over and see what you need. Now once you're done with your white lightning and you've wiped over all the parts of your piece, you need to come back and rinse with water. And the reason is you can leave cleaning residue on your piece. So even though all my cleaner is gone, now I need to clean my cleaner. So I just take another paper towel and I'm just wiping this again to get all that white lightning residue. If you wipe your piece down with white lightning and your paper towels are still wiping dirty, now I can tell just this time, just coming back with the water, that it's much cleaner than my white lightning rag. So I got most of my dirt off. And now it should be wiping clean when I come back with my water. If it's not, you can do another pass with your white lightning and you can keep wiping it down with the white lightning as much as you need to. If your piece keeps wiping ridiculously dirty, you're wiping rag after rag after rag and it's brown, those are not dirty pieces. That is bleeding. It is bleeding as you're cleaning it. The moisture from the cleaner will start drawing out those oils, the tannins. So pay attention to that. If you see that your piece is, I mean, there should be no piece of furniture that's that dirty, but there are pieces that will just continuously wipe dirty. If it continuously wipes dirty, it is a bleeder. You need to use Dixie Belle Boss. So I'm on my third drawer, wiping with water. My paper towel's pretty clean. This piece is not going to bleed on me. It's a pretty modern piece too. That's another good way to tell. The older your wood, the more likely it is to bleed. If you have to sand a piece, raw wood has a higher tendency to bleed through your paint than wood that has a finish over the top of it. So if you end up having to sand your piece in places, know that wherever you expose that wood, you're exposing the oils in that wood too. So if you have to sand down to bare wood for any reason, you would want to protect with Dixie Belle Boss.
Where'd you get your Mr. bottle?
And
your spray bottle?
These are available through Dixie Belle. My Mr., I found him down at the mall. Why is it only funny when you make the jokes? Mine just get a head shake.
Yeah.
These are Dixie Belle Mr. bottles, and they should be back in stock soon. Soon, guys. They're out of stock right now. You can also find these on Amazon, though. A lot of our Dixie Belle retailers have these in stock, and the ones who don't have found a replacement for them until we can get our Dixie Belle Mr. bottles back. So check with your local retailer, you guys. If not, it's a good add-on item. Throw it in your Amazon cart. If you can wait, you can get them through Dixie Belle again, too. All right, so except for vacuuming my inside, I feel like this is pretty clean. So, the finish on this. The finish on this is this glossy wood finish. You guys can probably even see the sheen on this wood as I'm on camera right now. I have two choices with this one. It is solid wood. So just the finish on it is glossy. It has a gloss clear coat on it. Whatever type of clear coat they use, it has a gloss finish on it. I could take this piece and I could 100% scuff sand it and start painting it. Scuff sanding is just taking a light abrasive. So I'm going to show you on it with a Surf Prep rad pad. These are also available through Dixie Belle. You can take and you can scuff sand your piece. And I would just take my rad pad and I want to take down this shiny finish that's on this furniture right here. It doesn't require a lot of elbow grease, guys. I'm just trying to take down the sheen. Now I'm going to wrap it into these crevices on here.
Jason says he laughs at you, not just me.
Thank you, Jason.
Yeah.
Wait. Why are you laughing at me, Jason? I'm going to, the rad pads are flexible. This is the fine. When you get rad pads, you get them in a multi-pack like this. And it comes with medium, which is the most abrasive, fine, very fine, and super fine. And they range in degree of abrasiveness. So you can choose how abrasive you want your rad pad. I like these fine ones. These are great. I mean, I use the, these are the most coarse. These are the medium, so I use these for when I need a more aggressive sanding. Some of the very fine I use for finish sanding. sanding in between coats, things like that. But because they come in a multi-pack, you don't have to choose. You get some of everything. You can also cut these up, you guys, so to make them last longer. This is a large pad. You could cut this into halves or even quarters and make this last for several projects. So I'm going to go around and I'm going to show you scuff sanding on this drawer. So I'm just taking down the sheen of this finish, and then I would come back.
Now, is that a Charlie Sheen? A Martin Sheen?
Yeah.
Or just a really bad Sheen?
Who's the other Sheen?
That's all you got?
No, the Breakfast Club kid. What's
No,
his?
that's Estevez.
Oh, he's at Estevez.
Oh my gosh.
He's a Sheen kid. I know. I'm not good with my pop
Gotta be quick on the trigger.
So then I would just take a tack cloth. In this case, I'm just using another damp cloth, and I need to take all that sanding dust back off my piece that I just cleaned. And I can see that I've got some of my finish on there that I've taken down. So that is a scuff sand.
So the Surf Prep sanding discs that you just had there, are those the ones that come with the sander, or are they different?
No, these are different. These are actually available through Dixie Belle. These are just, these are for manual sanding. These are not for use with their sander. So their sander requires different types of abrasives, but these are great for manual sanding. They're a higher end sanding sponge.
So when, just because it's coming up,
I'm
you
just
found me at a
answering
mall.
you. No, I didn't meet Sean at the mall.
It's because you mentioned it earlier,
No,
so it's kind of funny.
I was joking. I don't think we've been to a mall ever. No, Sean and I
They
actually
have those?
Have known each other since we were kids. We grew up in the same, we lived in the same apartment complex together when we were kids. So we've known each other since we were kids. We did not get married until later, but we knew each other for a long time. So I'm going to show you guys this. This is my unsanded drawer, and this is my scuff sanded drawer. You can tell just looking at it, I took down the sheen on this. It's more of a satin finish now versus the high gloss that's on this drawer originally. So that is scuff sanding. However, I'm going to choose another method because scuff sanding is labor. And Dixie Belle has awesome products that let me make that much easier on myself. I'm going to choose Dixie Belle Slick Stick. So I would say it's not 100% needed on this, but this is an option. So Slick Stick is a gripping primer that is made for painting on slick surfaces like glass, laminate, plastic, PVC, anything like that. Basically anything that's non-porous. So you should not need Slick Stick on wood pieces. This is wood, but it has a shiny finish on it. And I like Slick Stick better than I like sanding everything.
I can't wait for you to go back through and read the comments. Some are true. Dana. Anyway.
So there's a couple things. Number one, I kind of am thinking lighter colors on this. So the Slick Stick is going to help me. It's going to act as a primer to take this black over to a white. I also love laying paint over Slick Stick. It gives me a nice base to put paint on top of. So it's okay to choose Slick Stick even if you don't 100% need it. In this case, I'm doing it just to avoid my scuff sanding. Slick Stick is a gripping primer. It's going to give bite to my paint. It's going to help the paint bond to the surface underneath. And then my paint will bond well to this finish also. One thing I want to put out there for you guys is because we're going to do this piece on camera start to finish, we're going to do it over a few weeks together live. So when you tune in next week, we're going to work on this piece again. We'll do the next step on camera. And then by the end, you've got a complete tutorial on whatever look we choose. But I want your guys' input on the look we're going to choose. So here's what I'm looking for. What colors do you guys want to see? Now, I'm not going to 100% listen to you guys because I know that when I ask you for colors that you're going to tell me to paint everything in Mud Puddle and Holy Guacamole just to be me. But I'm curious, are there colors that you guys haven't seen? Is there a color combination that you've been thinking about trying and you want me to test it out? Give me something good that you would honestly want to put on a piece. I have an idea myself that I'll share with you guys in a minute. But I want to hear what colors have kind of been in the back of your head that you would like to see on something. I do blues a lot.
Of course, right out of the gate, Brittany mentions holy guacamole.
Oh, see what I'm talking about? I know. Because I've done those videos before where you let people pick the colors for you, and they're always like Florida orange, tree frog green. Like, you guys know you wouldn't put that on your own piece. You just like to see me do it for you, right? Pine cone. So no.
Patinas.
Oh, patinas. Oh, I like patinas. Okay, who's that person?
Then you have Sheila, obviously, that threw out metallics.
Yeah,
yep.
Sheila likes
See?
metallics. Sheila likes shiny stuff.
There's duck egg in there.
Oh, vintage duck egg. That's a good one. I'm putting my slick stick on. When I put my slick stick on, I lay it on with my Dixie Belle brush. This is the Dixie Belle Mini. So slick stick is a water-based product, so I don't have to use a nasty chip brush. It's a primer that goes on super easy, super smooth. I'm in California and it's really hot here. Really hot here. I'm dying right now. We have my air conditioner on in my garage, but it's, whew, I'm sweaty. So even in the heat, it's laying on really nicely. You should never need to dilute your slick stick. If you need to make it glide, you can use a mist of your water from your mister bottle just to lubricate your surface a little bit, but you shouldn't need to dilute your slick stick at all.
So because you're using the slick stick, do you need the boss at all?
No, you should rarely, if ever, need to use slick stick and boss together. So like I said, I don't think this piece is a bleeder. I'm looking at the type of wood on it, I'm looking at the existing finish, I looked at how it was cleaning. This piece does not say bleed through to me. If I needed boss, I would do my scuff sand 100%. The scuff sand I just showed you with my rad pad, I would do that and I would put my boss on it. I don't need boss on this one. It's usually either or. It's either scuff sand and boss or slick stick. Scuff sand and boss or slick stick. Rarely, if ever, should you need to do both. It's not going to hurt anything if you do.
Can you spray slick stick?
You can spray slick stick. You can. Now, slick stick is one of the thicker of the Dixie Belle products, so you do need to dilute it a little bit for your sprayer. But you most definitely can spray your slick stick. I've got 2 drawers done. Let's go ahead and get this third one. I even went ahead and put boss on the one drawer that I did my scuff sanding to. If you need your boss, it also comes in clear and in white. So I'm taking this black and making it white, which is kind of cool because as we go through, if I've got a finish that's in a color, I like to use that to my advantage. So when I am deciding my finishes, now I'm going to have a layer of white and a layer of black underneath my paint colors. If I wanted to distress, I can make a really cool layered look. All by just the natural color of my piece and the color of the primer I put on it. Make it look like I've got 2 extra layers of finish underneath my paint.
Now, just for a comparable, what's the working time for this versus paint? Roughly.
They're pretty comparable. Now, I do use quite a bit of water when I'm painting, misting my surface. I'm not using water in this at all. It's got a nice long open time. It's not getting sticky at all. Like, I can still take my brush. I like to use nice, long, even brush strokes all the way across the piece because remember, the base that you lay on, the paint you put over top is only as good as the base you put under it. So if I start out right now with brush strokes in my finish, I'm going to have brush strokes at every step after this too. So I can still come back on this and I can draw these brush strokes out and my brush is not sticking. If it was, I could just give it a nice mist of water and run this right over top. Slick stick is one of the products that you do not want to wash down your sink. So they do recommend that when you rinse your brushes out. I have a gravel pit in my yard and that's a really nice thing for washing out some of these brushes. That's because it's slick stick. It's made for sticking on things like PVC. What can be made out of PVC? Plumbing pipes. So just keep that in mind. I always paint inside my piece. The same steps that I use on the outside of my piece, I use on the inside of my piece as well. So I will paint all in here along my drawer glides. I'm saying paint, but I'm actually using a primer. This is Slick Stick. Well, prime. I should say prime instead. When I refill my brush, I'm using very little Slick Stick. It doesn't take very much at all.
So the coverage is really good.
The coverage is really good on it. They recommend 2 coats on this. I've done 1 if I don't feel like it's that necessary, but I'm just doing it as a precautionary. I've done 1 and not had any issues, but 2 coats are recommended with Slick Stick. I'm going to move some of these items off here. We'll talk paint color in just a minute. Because when I'm doing all this, I also like to take my piece and tip it. So if I take my piece and I tip it like this, all of a sudden I can see.
It's coming back at you?
Try that again. Stuck on part of the floor. If I tip it like this, all of a sudden I can see that I've got a crevice down under here that I missed. I'm going to refill my brush a little bit. Another thing about Slick Stick is I know that it works because once I close, this was a new container when I opened it, but once I close it, all this Slick Stick around my rim is going to make this container very hard to reopen. So this is one of the products that I do recommend putting some saran wrap over the top before you put your lid on, because it works. It bonds your top to your container also. So just a little tip there on how to store your Slick Stick too. So how are we looking on colors? Do we have any suggestions? What are you guys saying on color for this? It can really be anything because this is kind of a fun piece.
There's a lot of yellows.
Oh, you guys are in the mood for some yellows? I haven't done yellow in a while. I was thinking I might save Colonel Mustard for like a larger piece because I love Colonel Mustard on like buffets and stuff. I could see like a fresh, clean, light yellow, something like that. Like Daisy or Lemonade or Rebel Yellow.
Burlap.
Oh, okay.
Peacock.
Burlap is cute. I've done a couple looks with burlap, but I like burlap like with the sunflower molds. I always love the blues. That's easy for me. That's where my mind goes always. So sometimes I have to deliberately pull myself out of doing blues all the time. I did pick a couple colors out here, and I'll show you where I'm thinking. But I'm not married to it. That's why I wanted to get some opinions. So you can spray Slick Stick. I honestly really just like brushing. It's relaxing to me. So sometimes, even though I can spray a product, I will still choose to brush just for...
Some muscadine?
Oh, you guys actually have a piece in muscadine that I just did. I just did one. It's actually going to be one of my next pieces that I post. Spoiler alert.
That was Brittany's idea.
Does she just want to hear me say muscadine?
Yeah, got it. Yeah.
I should have known. So you guys, I mean, you're always here to sell me out.
That's what I do. Comes with the ring. It's cool.
So I'm using long, even brush strokes. I'm not, even if I want to come like this, I tell you guys this all the time on paint finishes. And you got to dig it like this, and you get your Slick Stick all lumpy and messy. You want to come back, and you're going to use nice, long, even brush strokes. Now I do a light sanding in between every coat, including my Slick Stick and my Boss. I will lightly sand in between. And that is just it takes down any brush strokes I might have, and then it just makes each coat smoother after that.
What's the brush that you're using?
This is the Dixie Belle Mini. This is my favorite for laying on paint, laying on Slick Stick, Boss. I love laying on my paint with this. and I use the oval medium for blending it out. Those are my two favorite brushes. I tell everybody, if you have to pick two Dixie Belle brushes, the mini and the oval medium are my recommendations, hands down. Okay, so as far as colors, you guys, here's where my mind was going. These are colors that I haven't used. Now, although I am realizing that they're kind of in the blue family, but I'm thinking this is Yankee Blue, which is kind of it's got purpley undertones, like a periwinkle blue. This is Blueberry, which is an even lighter periwinkle. And then I also got out some mint julep. That's a pretty color combination. So Yankee Blue, Blueberry, mint julep. Maybe even as a darker tone, some aubergine. Let me grab aubergine too. Let me show you aubergine with this combo. This is a pretty combo. So this would be aubergine. I like that. Somebody vote for that so I can use it. And here my mind goes to like fairy sprinkles and glitter and pretty sparkles, and it's a little feminine but not, you know, not super girly. That's mint julep, blueberry, Yankee Blue, and aubergine. But I'm open to changing it, and we don't have to decide till next week.
Dana wants you to do yellow with those blues.
Oh yeah, kind of in here we could trade out the mint julep and put a little bit of yellow in there. Like I won't get up again, but I'm looking at like rebel yellow. Would be kind of pretty in here. When you're choosing colors, you guys, I just wrote a blog post on my website at brushedbybrandy.com on the processes that go in my head about choosing colors, and you guys are seeing some of it here. As I'm picking these colors, I've talked about what colors have I used recently. Somebody suggested muscadine wine. I just did a piece in muscadine wine, so that's not the first thing that jumps in my head. So, you know, I talked about I've done a lot of blues, so kind of trying to want to get away from that. These are some of the processes that go through my head. So if you're stuck on choosing colors, go check out that blog post on my website. I just posted it, Sunday? And that is kind of helpful. Oh my gosh, I'm sweating. It's so hot out here.
I wasn't going to say anything.
I'm dying. Trying to talk fast in hopes that I won't notice how my body feels right now.
Oh, shocker.
It's really hot.
Sheila wants glitter.
Yeah, we could do some really pretty gilding waxes with this. Maybe put some molds on it or something.
Oh, wow. Christine said it's 108. And she lives in California. I'm, like 29 Palms? Yeah, that's warm.
Yeah, it's 118 in my garage right now. So from here, Slick Stick dries pretty fast, and it dries to a really nice matte finish. But from here, I'm just going to let this dry. When we come back next week, we're going to start the paint on this piece. We will put some paint on it. So I'm going to read through all your suggestions, and something that speaks to me. Good Lord.
How about if I speak to you about shutting that?
You'd like to have a talk with me? I will also go ahead and I will finish cleaning the sides and the top of this that we didn't do on camera tonight. But we did get a chance to talk about Boss versus Slick Stick, Scuff sanding versus Slick Stick, how to look at your piece and really assess what it needs for preparation for paint. So from here, next week we'll start off and we'll give this light scuff sanding. Okay, I've got a little drip right here. I'm going to take it off before it dries.
Got a lot of votes for what you got sitting on the panel right there.
You guys like these? I kind of like them. I have not used mint julep and I can't even say how long. And I usually shy away from these blues because they have the purpley undertones. But if I just go with it, I think it looks pretty. You know what else would be really pretty here is Mason-Dixon gray is kind of a purpley gray. Let me show you guys that.
I thought you weren't getting up again.
I know I lied, but I'll get yellow too. I'll make it worth your while. Okay. Sure, I'm always worried I'm going to be on camera and I'm going to sit down and miss my stool, and you guys will have that moment in time forever.
But this, because people have asked about your little stool. I mean, you're using it.
Yeah. Oh, I use my stool all the time.
But see, if you fall, it's only like 2 inches.
No, it would look like
yeah, no. It's like when you try to avoid falling.
Yeah, I would go
it's all slow mo.
Yeah, I would get a concussion.
I would be the good friend to point and laugh.
Some facial fractures.
And make sure that I catch it on camera.
So this is more monotone, but I still really like this combination. Mason-Dixon gray is a gray that leans a little bit lavender. So it still has the same undertones as my other colors here. I like that with the Mason-Dixon gray. And then someone asked about a yellow. So here's where I would go for yellow. That could be a really pretty accent. I don't know that it goes super bold on it though. So my mind goes here or here. I'll leave those as a possibility. All right, you guys. So I'm gonna pop on, but I hope you guys will stay invested. Part of the reason.
You mean pop off?
No, pop on next week. Pop on next week. Just stay on for the next week. There's gonna be videos every day. Trust me. I want you guys to stay invested in the process and actually see that when we paint, it's a process. So a lot of the pieces I post are things that it has taken me hours to learn, either sitting and playing with the paint or watching tons of videos, reading myself. A lot of investment goes into it. So if you aren't seeing a video right away, or there's a technique that we're just learning, sometimes we're just learning and it's not ready to share yet, but you guys know I share everything I do with you anyways, so just be patient sometimes. Just be patient. So if you guys pop on next week, we'll go on to the next step, which we'll be putting paint on this, and you guys will get to see the true process, the time that goes into putting a full piece together. You watch TikTok videos and you get a full tutorial in 15 seconds of refinishing a dresser in 15 seconds. It takes more than that. So that's my goal. I want to give you guys a realistic timeline of what it looks like finishing a full piece of furniture. All right, you guys, I'm going to pop off. Go check out that blog post on my website at Brushed by Brandy on choosing colors. And I'm going to read through your color selections. My name is Brandy. Go follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and YouTube, all at Brushed by Brandy. And you guys have a great weekend. It is so hot. I'm going to go jump in my pool. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with us tonight. Have a great weekend. Thank you.